Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Town of Westford Capital Planning Committee meeting for Friday, October 17th, 2025. Just a reminder to all participating that this meeting is being recorded. So welcome, everybody. We've got, if you saw the agenda, we've got a fairly busy schedule today. We're going to go through a couple of items up first before we get into our normal recommendations for March 28, 2026 town meeting. When we do get to that list, as you guys will see, there's quite a number of items on here. And we do have a hard stop for a number of our members of the committee at 10:30. So we'll try to be, judicious with our time, but I want to make sure that everybody's questions and concerns get discussed and answered. So if you have anything we need for follow-ups, let us know. And if we're going long and we need to invite a few people back to discuss other things at another time, we will find it and make time. So please don't hesitate to ask your questions as needed and feel like your voice is heard on any items you feel they need to be. So that is the plan. We're going to start right now, going right into the capital request for the Frost School boiler. So Jeff Goodwin, the floor is yours on this item, my friend.
Okay, good morning, everyone. This is more of an update, really. This is in the capital database. We were hoping to vote on it in March, but last week when we did our yearly startup here of the boiler, we realized that the boiler is in worse condition than what we really had thought it was. This in the Tecton facilities assessment, they did list this as a priority number one for that building. But after, as I said, as we opened it up last week and fired the system up, we realized that we're running a risk of trying to get through another winter with this boiler. The Frost School has had numerous insurance claims over the years. That basement has flooded in the past. The boiler itself, if you looked at it, you would think it was 40 years old, but it's actually only a 20-year-old steam boiler that serves the building. And as it turns out, we made some repairs last year to it. We thought we'd get another couple of years out of it, but as it turns out, that's just not the case. So right now we're in the process of exploring what our options are. In the Tecton report, they listed the replacement cost of the boiler with a new steam boiler as $114,000. Right now we are exploring options. I met with a team of engineers over there yesterday to explore what it would take to electrify the building and take the steam boiler plant offline altogether, which would obviously align with our decarbonization goals in town. Early indications are still coming in as far as what that project scope is going to look like. But in order for us to directly contract with Guardian through Chapter 25A, that project would have to be under $300,000, and early indications are kind of saying that we're going to be above that. It would require a significant electrical service upgrade to the building, significant wiring work, and we would probably have to shut Frost down for at least a few days in order to do this work and get it done. So we're exploring both options, an apples to apples replacement of the steam boiler, but also what it would take to electrify the building. Ideally, electrification would be what we would want to do. But given the timetable we're on and the quick entry towards winter at this point, I think we're going to have to weigh our options once we know what the quotes are for both options. So
When do you expect to get, what do you think timeline for quotes is, Jeff?
I should hopefully have something by the end of next week, early the following week.
Okay.
Dan and I have already spoke that if we have to mobilize on this sooner rather than later, which it looks like that's going to be the case, we do have a funding source in the town revolving lease account that we might be able to tap to do this work. But as this was going to be a capital item, I wanted to at least provide the committee with an update on where we are with it at this point. So
Yeah, no, it's very much appreciated, but
no.
completely understand your timing issues.
Yep.
And not surprisingly, we've got a few questions on it. So, John C., go ahead.
And is this building air conditioned?
No, it is not. Currently, they utilize window air conditioners and portable air conditioners to cool the rooms. So the benefit of an electrification project would be that we would be putting in an air source heat pump that both heat and cooled the building. So it would obviously be some operational efficiencies there by doing this, not to mention taking an inefficient steam plant offline.
Absolutely.
You know, time is our enemy on this one, especially the weather coming up. So I think we need to move sooner rather than later. So,
Yep.
my
Agreed.
opinion.
Yeah, I agree, John. Tom L.
Yeah, just a clarifying point, in the write-up description, you listed it as over 60 years old, but I think you just said it was only 20 years old. Is that correct? Did I hear you correctly on that?
I edited that description, Tom. That was erroneous. So
Okay,
no,
thank you.
the boiler was installed in 2006. But it has been submerged on a couple of occasions during a couple of the insurance claims.
Thanks. Christina.
Just curious, how many insurance claims have we had on this, Jeff? Do you know
Uh,
if
I know of two since I've been here. When Paul Fox was still the director of facilities, a bathroom flooded in the building, causing severe damage to the first floor. And while we were making repairs on that one, the boiler system shut down and caused a second claim. So there were actually two claims coupled together at the same time, basically.
Okay,
Yep. And I believe that there was one previous to that. I just don't have all the information on it.
sure.
Yeah.
And just, I think I missed, how long do you think it'll take for estimates?
I should have something hopefully by the end of next week or early the following week.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Anybody else got questions for Jeff on this one? All right, well, we'll stay tuned to what's decided and what the next steps are, but we appreciate the update, Jeff. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good day.
You too, man. All right, we're going to go into an update on Nutting Road, which all of you may have seen some of the stuff going on and the town vote on it. So, Dan, who do we have giving this update?
Kyle, do you want to give it?
Sure, I can do that, Dan. Thank you. Good morning, committee members. Kyle Fox, Public Works Director. So I have a pretty good update for everyone on this subject. So following the town meeting result, where we fell a handful of votes short of meeting the 2/3 requirement, Parks and Rec Commission, following the resolution that was talked about at town meeting, had me prepare a presentation for a deeper analysis on grass field versus turf field. At the conclusion of that meeting, that was very well attended, the commission voted to go forward with the turf project and to try to bring it to special town meeting. So that's the approach we took from there. Then during as the months went on, we together made the decision to go out to bid prior to special town meeting so we could go in with what the actual cost would be rather than a budget speculation. So we did open bids on October 9th, and we received 6 bids on the project. The low bid being just over $1 million and the high bid being just over 1.3 million. And the low bidder appears to be a good bid that we would accept. So that's what we're planning to present on October 27th. They asked from, that was 2.1 million, now is 1.15 million.
That's great, Kyle. Folks, questions on this? Tom?
More of just a point. So as I drove to Stony Brook yesterday, I realized that right now the town has, counting Nutting, 2 turf fields and numerous grass fields. So I would say that this would help to create or preserve diversity in the fields that we have. So just something that may want to be included in presentation.
That's a great point. Tom W.
I assume you have a presentation for a town meeting a week from.
I do, yeah. Angela has given me 3 minutes to present, so I have a shortened, condensed version of
Okay,
May 5th presentation.
okay, thanks.
That's great. Jared?
Quick question. So I understand. So for projects like this where we have, a large investment in something that we expect will last like 10, 15 years, right? Do we also then look forward to like that 20, 30, 40 year for these same types of projects? So we're not revisiting this again when it's time to either replace the field and turn it into turf or grass again?
Sure. Kristen, go
Yeah,
ahead.
so we are developing our long-term capital plan now, vehicles, equipment, fields, interior equipment, and we'll be working as a team on how we fund these items in the future. We had not done that in the past, but that is one of our goals with our team.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
In your presentation slide that you have, do you include that cost? Since you only have a few minutes, is one of the slides that you'll be presenting that cost comparison?
Yeah, I have a graph in the presentation that
Okay.
shows the lifetime cost of grass versus turf over a 51-year period.
Okay.
Okay. That's a great update. Anybody else on this one? We've got Kyle for a while, so don't worry about it. We're not letting him go.
We can revisit if anyone thinks of
If
anything.
anybody pops up with anything, no, but it's a good update, Kyle. We appreciate it. So why don't we jump into the requests? We'll start with the engineering requests, and then yeah, we've got you all the way through water enterprise until we get to Mark's wastewater. So
And just before you get started, Dan, I think Jenny Lynn is one of the attendees and may want to be elevated as panelist. I can't do that on my end. I see that in the question box.
oh, thanks, Kristen.
Yeah,
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Paul Starrett, Town Engineer. So Littleton Road Widening Project is a continuation of our commercial corridor improvements from Minot's Corner to Concord Road intersection. We've been making steady improvements over the last 20 years. This is the last phase to put in a third lane and pedestrian bicycle accommodations along this corridor. It's a big ask here, but we do anticipate a favorable grant request that we've submitted for that could take a good bite out of this $1 million, but nothing official yet. And so that will keep this project on track. We're also partnering with the 37 Powers Road project to get some benefit out of that arrangement as well.
Paul, what would the timing be on finding out about that grant? When would we hear on it, most likely?
Kristen, when did that go in?
We should hear by the end of this calendar year, likely November, though.
Oh, okay, great. So it would kind of be in the timing as we're thinking about these projects and town meeting and what to go for. So okay, so that's great.
No questions, I'll buzz right along.
Yep.
Street sidewalk at Patton Road. The engineering department does this in support of the Pedestrian Safety Committee. This is a project that they're advancing as a part of their prioritization plan. This will make a connection from the Abbott Mills apartment complex to our to the Westford Academy and essentially to the 3-school campus in that part of town. So this is for the construction phase of it. But, you know, we're getting down to the fine line on our mitigation agreement, so it's not clear that we'll have monies or resources available through that process. So our ask is for the full construction costs based on our design estimate.
Okay, Tom.
When you say essentially to the 3-school campus,
Right.
how short would we be of connecting the 3
Goes
school
all the way to
campus?
Westford Academy, and once you're on the Westford Academy property, there are trails and paths that connect to Crisafulli and Robinson. They're not accessible, but If you're of a mind to walk, you'll have the opportunity.
But are those trails maintained through the winter?
And they're not they're beyond the scope of the project. I just mentioned it
Yeah.
as inside.
Okay, I just want to be clear that for anyone that has an expectation that they could
No.
walk, their students could.
Not in the winter. You can do it in the fall and the spring, easily to Robinson. The Christopher Foley trails are a little bit more works, but they're done. There are kids walking there every day right now. But
Right.
the winter, it would not be accessible.
And then we're continuing now that we've completed a lot of our infrastructure and work throughout town, our major intersections, traffic signals. We've maintained our dam infrastructure, inspections on that, but we're now ready to move into the next important phase of infrastructure, and that's our town-owned bridges. And so this $85,000 request will help us develop a condition assessment of our bridges, very similar to what we had done with our culverts. We did a culvert assessment study, and that informed how we are rolling out our construction and design and construction schedule for culverts. We'll be able to do the same with our bridges.
John.
How many bridges are you talking about, Paul?
I think we're 19, Jeremy. I think we're in that ballpark.
Yeah, it's on DOT's list. We have 19 bridges.
Wow.
Okay, thank you.
That's it for engineering.
Thank you, Paul. We appreciate it as always. Okay. And guys, again, we're moving because we've got a huge request list. If there are items that you think about or after as you go back and you want, just email us and we'll get, Dan and myself and Kristen, and we'll get answers, and we'll go back to Paul as we need. It's pretty common when we have follow-ups and stuff like that. So please don't feel like your time has passed just because we're going through these like this.
Mr. Chair, I should mention that I always welcome people to reach out to me personally, phone call, text, email.
Yes.
We're glad to talk, glad to share, glad to educate.
Paul, when I walk through town, I give out your business card to people who look like they got too much time on their hands.
I spray paint my cell phone number everywhere anyway.
Yeah, that's what it is. I say, oh, you need someone to call. It's Paul Starrett. Go for it. Thank you, Paul. As always, we appreciate it, my friend. All right, Kyle, we're going to go into highway.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Assistant Director Lori Halverson talk us through these requests.
Terrific. Welcome, Lori.
Thank you. Actually, Jeremy, I think you're going to do the pavement management.
Yes, Jeremy Downs, Assistant Town Engineer. This request is for the 2026 annual pavement management program. The packet that we provided includes a summary of the roads we paved this past year, roads scheduled to be paved in 2026 and 2027. It includes a map showing the road surface ratings for all town roads. It also includes a summary report that provides an overview of our pavement management program that we've had in place since 2017. Typically, on average, we pave about 6 to 8 miles of road each year through this program, which is typically funded through Chapter 90 and the Newport Mitigation Agreement. Our annual investment into the program is about $1 to $1.5 million, with the Newport mitigation being approximately $420,000 at this point. I just like to point out the paving list that we do include for 26 and 27. It's in draft format right now. We're going to be re-inspecting our roads this fall. And as every year, we reevaluate our roads after the winter. This past winter, did a number on our roads. So we do like to reevaluate the list and reprioritize and typically add additional roads that are in tough condition.
John, did you have a question for Jeremy?
No, just a comment. The folks at Butternut Road are very happy with the results of this last year. And the project went very smoothly in this area. So I just want to say I appreciate what they did.
Yeah, it came out good.
Okay, so it's a 1.3. Looks like we're gonna change here. Is it just it's 1.3 million, Dan?
That's correct. That's an
Yeah.
estimate. That's their estimate for what we'll spend.
Yeah.
This isn't a town meeting vote. Town meeting just authorizes the use of Chapter 90 funds, so it could be more, it could be less. So
Yeah. All right, I think that's helpful especially for the new members. Okay. Folks, any more on the pavement management request? All right, looks like, do we have a vehicle that came off and two on?
Yep, we took off the SUV.
Okay.
So moving on to the vehicle replacement for the front end loader. This is a replacement of a 2000 John Deere front loader. Its expected life is 15 years and we're at 25 years. This machine is a critical piece of machinery for our winter and summer operations. We use it for loading all the trucks from salt to stone. We load our catch basin cleanings. So it's used every day for loading trucks. It's also used in the winter for snow hauling. So it's a critical piece of machinery, but it is 25 years old. So it's past its life expectancy. We're looking to trade it in and can possibly get up to $18,000 for a trade-in at this point, which isn't included in that price.
And we, Dan, I don't have my notes from last year, but I feel like this one, was this one of the ones that we passed on in the last couple of years? We've had a few that we've pushed out.
It was, Paul. It was a request from last year that got
Yeah,
deferred.
thanks, Kyle. That's what I remember is we had to move some out. I remember I thought this one was, so, okay. Thank you. Christina, do you have a question on that?
Yeah, Lori, has this piece of equipment been causing issues lately? I mean, I understand that it's 25 years old and yes, probably, due for replacement. I'm just wondering about the condition of it currently.
Yes, we just did a $3,500 repair on the center pins. So the repairs are starting to get more costly. And with its age, parts are hard to come by.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, not seeing any other questions, Laura. You can keep moving through.
All right, so we're going to go on to the six-wheel dump truck. This will be replacing truck 54, which is a 2004 international truck. This is 21 years old. It does have 60,000 miles on it. We do have 13 similar trucks to it, and it does plow during the winter. It's used all year round, also for hauling. At this time, we're looking to replace it. We're at the point where we're still waiting for delivery of trucks ordered into 2023. So the length of delivery time, we need to start planning ahead for that as well. So we're looking to replace this one. Any questions?
Seeing any questions? Hold up, Jared.
Gonna be a similar question. Has this car been having a lot more issues over the last few years, or it's just due to for?
Yes, the condition of it, it is very rusty. It's in salt, so it is in the worst of conditions. They do keep up on the maintenance, but again, the truck is getting older. There also is no ground speed control. So at that point, we have really no control over the salt that we are putting out. And there's just better technology at this point.
Thank you.
John?
So it seems like last year, didn't we put in a request to replace a number of trucks as well? It seems like every year we seem to be replacing several trucks. And you said we've got 13 like this with a life expectancy of what, 15 years, say? So, do we have a plan to get to maybe where we replace one every year rather than needing several in sort of clumps? Because it makes everything lumpy. It makes long-term budgeting a little bit tricky.
Yeah, I can take that, John. Really good question. So when I arrived to the town 2.5 years ago, there was no definitive plan for capital replacements of our equipment. And so one of the first tasks that Director Cronin had me do was develop that plan. And so we have a 15-year replacement plan. Unfortunately, because of the way vehicle replacements had been handled before that, there was a gigantic backlog of vehicle replacements that we're still trying to catch up from and will be for many years. Because of the cost of each of these pieces of equipment, it's difficult to catch up. So we're focusing on replacing what we can when we can, understanding the budget constraints that Westford and really all municipalities are in a similar boat at this point. So the answer is yes, we do have a plan. Unfortunately, finances don't let us execute the plan as well as we'd like. Regarding the trucks from last year, part of the issue and why we keep promoting these ones that are still running, and in one case, we have a truck that's no longer running, that we're still waiting to replace because it takes a long time to get these trucks, a lasting impact from COVID. In fact, the truck that was approved at town meeting in March of 23, we're still waiting for that truck. We expect to have that one before winter this year, and hopefully two of the ones from last year before winter this year, but we still don't know. So that's why the request is for you, before you.
Hey, Kyle, maybe, I think we did it last year, if I'm not mistaken, but maybe we can share with the committee just the inventory list of what we've got because it's a fair question and it's
Yep.
come up in the past. But that really, I'll echo what you're saying, is we really are catching our tail on a lot of these requests, and like 2 or 3 a year is really all we've had the budget for in the past to be able to do. But to Laura's point, like these are things that are 21, 25 years old. A lot of the ones that we've been doing when their replacement plan is 15. So in order to get us to a kind of steady state, we've got some catch up, unfortunately, and this is until we get there, we're going to be struggling with this, I guess. So maybe sharing that inventory with the committee would really help folks, especially the newer members, kind of see what our current state is. If that's okay.
Yep, we'll get off that to Dan today.
Yeah,
Thanks, Kyle.
if there's any way you can sort of lay out, where we are. I mean, I appreciate, some of these trucks are very old and they do need to be replaced. So don't get me wrong there. It's just that, a lot of them at once is, with the way the town finances are, it's tricky. So do you have any idea when you might get caught up, how many years it's going to take?
I honestly, I don't know that we'll ever catch up given the backlog we have. But when you see the spreadsheet, the way the spreadsheet is set up, we have an anticipated useful life, and then we have a scheduled replacement year, and then you'll see a bunch of red numbers. Those are the number of years deferred from planned useful life that we are in. And unfortunately, a lot of our vehicles are in that category. So,
I see that from looking at the requests.
Yeah.
Like almost 10 years in at least one case, right?
Yeah, and trying to predict when we could, quote, catch up, given the budget constraints, I don't think I could offer a reasonable answer to that question.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you, Kyle.
That's a good question. Christina, what do you got?
Kyle, I think what might help is 2 years ago, at least that was the latest one that I saw, you gave like a catch-up schedule. It was one sort of immediate, one
Yep.
over 15 years or whatever it was. And I think giving us that update would probably be helpful to see what is your current, replacement schedule. But I think the other thing that would be helpful, at least to me, is sort of a cheat sheet on top of that that says this is what you want your fleet to look like. You've got 10 dump trucks, 2 loaders. I don't even know the names of things, but
Yep.
because when I look at that spreadsheet, some of the stuff I'm like, is this the same as that? Like, and that's just my ignorance on these pieces of equipment. I don't quite understand what all of them are or what they're used for. So some kind of a, here's what our overall fleet should look like. We need X number of this because of snow or whatever.
That's a really good comment, and our later versions of that spreadsheet does identify which pieces of equipment are essential to the winter maintenance process, and that's really the trigger for the number of pieces of equipment we need. because that's when all of the pieces are out and about.
Yeah,
We have 27 plow routes, and we'll share with the committee our plow plan as well, because that identifies all the equipment that's out on the road for storms. And although the equipment doesn't get used as much during the summer, all at once, we have to plan for winter,
sure.
which is really what drives the volume of equipment needs. So yeah, we'll get you that info.
Yeah,
Really great comment.
I think that would be super helpful, especially to me. I would probably be asking less questions of you when you need to replace something if I understood what exactly the overall plan was. Because at one point you also said that, we had kind of a large fleet and you were going to kind of try to tighten it up, but so far we haven't seen that tightening up.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because you've got so many old pieces of equipment, understandable, but it would be nice to just kind of see that in, like, again, in sort of in layman's terms.
Yeah, no, great comment. And we'll definitely get you info on that.
John?
Kyle, I've been with this committee on and off for the last 20 years, and the common thread seems to be with the winter equipment, corrosion and body, just the deterioration over time of the bodies of the trucks. Are you happy with the level of maintenance we're able to provide, or is there something we need to change there?
No, I think we do a good job with it. Certainly, we have trucks that are 20, 25 years old, and they're still out on the road running. And that's really a testament to our fleet maintenance folks and our highway, parks, and cemetery folks who, after every storm, they are washing the trucks down. They are taking care of them and keeping them clean. And a 25-year truck life is sort of a testament to that effort.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thanks, guys. We can keep moving through the requests.
Okay, so I have one more to go. That's the replacement of the 2013 wheeled excavator. It's a Wacker Knudsen. So this is our wheeled excavator. We use it for roadside mowing, moving trees with a grapple, digging, catch basin repairs, roadside restoration. So it's used quite a lot in our operations in the spring, summer, and fall. Right now, they stopped manufacturing this. This was the last year of manufacturing was 2013. So parts are starting to get difficult. They're getting caught up at customs. We've had a lot of wiring issues with this machine. So it's starting to become one of our trouble childs. So we're looking to replace that as well. In the quote, there also is a trade-in for this machine for $42,000, and that's included in the price.
Great. Tom?
Did I sleep through the front end loader?
Yes.
Okay.
You have a follow-up? Go ahead.
No, I don't remember the front end loader being discussed.
We did.
Okay,
You
sorry.
can see it on video though, if you want to follow. Jared?
Quick question. I saw you're going to the same Volvo CE, right, Sourcewell contract. Are they providing any discounts for getting multi-vehicles, or is this just the list price that they're giving you?
This is just the quote they gave us.
Okay, so there's no discount from them for purchasing multi-units.
I'm sure we could try that, but we would probably bid them out separately.
Okay.
Christina?
So just a follow up on that, if you bid them separately, but we end up purchasing two vehicles from the same company, do we have the opportunity to go back and try to negotiate something with them? Is that something that municipalities can do?
I would have to defer that question.
So in a bid scenario, we're sort of in good faith. The bidders submit a bid, a blind bid, and for me, it's not really great practice to negotiate after, because once vendors learn that you're going to do that, their prices are going to creep up and they won't necessarily give you the best price on their bids. So I think, that we have a responsibility to treat our vendors, well, in that we ask them to give us their low bid, and it's a zero-sum game. Either they get it or they don't. And so they're giving us their best price through that process. And to negotiate those after, I struggle with that concept.
Okay.
But we can certainly ask the question about a combo discount.
Right.
Maybe we can put them out to bid together and see if we can get a discount through
Yeah.
doing it that
In the
way.
bid, yeah, maybe there's a way to see
Yeah,
if
I
We could
just-
do a
discounts. Yeah,
we
multi-vehicle
could do an
discounts, you
A
buy
or
more.
B or both bid.
You could put
Yeah.
that in the RFP. You could
Yep.
put it out there, just
We
ask
can
the
do
question of, yeah, if we buy multiple, is there a discount?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I know that we have certain laws we have to follow, but I don't think we should be paying more than we need to be.
Agreed.
I'm sure companies go back to the vendors all the time, right? Anyway,
That's a good point. Okay, anything else on the highway vehicles, folks? Okay, thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
Kyle, we have cemetery, but it looks like the trailer was pulled off. So is there?
Yeah, so I
anything
can
else?
speak briefly to
Yeah.
that, Paul.
Okay.
So this is going to be music to Christina's ears. So this was again another deferred piece of equipment from last year, and in talking with our cemetery operator, asking about this. So the trailer failed inspection last year, so it hasn't been used in over a year, and they've been relying on their second trailer. They have two, and so Lori and I asked the question, do you really need the second one? So we've deferred this request for now, and we're going to evaluate over the next 12 months as well to see if we can get away with just the one and some sharing with Parks and Highway. So we think this will come off the rolls and reduce our trailer fleet.
That's great. Christina?
thank you. That is music to my ears. That's awesome, Kyle.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, let's move into Parks and Grounds.
Okay, thank you, Paul. So the first project was brought to your committee 2 years ago, and it was recommended to the Community Preservation Group, who looked favorably upon the project, which is to replace the tennis court at the Rodenbush facility. And through a variety of other requests that were asked that year, CPA asked us to return last year with this request. And unfortunately, there were other priorities that the Park and Rec Commission felt trumped that project for last year, so they deferred it again by another year. So the request is here again this year as the top request by the Park and Rec Commission. And basically, it would do a few things. First, it would replace and upgrade the court, the backboard, and that facility. It would also add some accessible sidewalk paths to the court from the Frost property, and it would repair the stairs that lead from the Rodenbush parking area down to the court.
Kyle, we in the past on this one, because it was discussed so much, I remember we had pictures and we had kind of details and all that, and we were discussing it so much. I remember certain folks went out and took a look at the time and stuff, but do we have any? I just have a bunch of new members here, and they weren't part of those conversations in the last, I think it was 2 years ago specifically, we went real deep on it. And I'm happy to have anybody ask their questions here, but just given how much we talked about this one, given the size of the request, I'm wondering if, and again, I hate to load you up with follow-ups, but I'm wondering if there's just some additional info we can share with the committee so that the new members can see it. And then I would, I'd suggest for this one and any of the other ones that that people go out and look at them as they go and see them and stuff like that. So if there is anything that we discussed, I just remember these coming up in discussion. So if there's anything that we can share from that to help educate the new members, and I would suggest for the new members, if you have time and on weekends, especially to get out and see some of these ones, I think it's helpful because I think a few of us, again, we've discussed and heard and seen in other times, but I think that's helpful. So not just for this request, but any of them that we're pulling back up, I think that would be really helpful. If you don't,
Yeah, I'll get some updated pictures and add them to the database.
if you can, yeah, that would, I
Yep.
just be really,
Oh,
really,
good comment.
thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Jared, go ahead.
Sorry for all the questions today. So real quick, this is more just in regard to the description, justification and the request. So there was a note that said, that there has been little to no maintenance over the course of 10 to 20 years for these fields. So I guess my question is, doing this and fixing these fields in these places, right? Is there going to be something that is also different on the maintenance front to make sure that this doesn't happen again in another 10, 20 years?
It's a great question.
Yeah, so I'll take that in kind of two parts. First, preventing replacement. Time takes its toll no matter what maintenance you do. That being said, we are putting an increased effort into maintenance of our courts. This summer, we did a whole lot of crack sealing on the courts at our Greystone property. We got some kudos from the pickleballers and tennis players up there. Last year, the Graniteville basketball courts, we had previously done some asphalt repairs, and last summer, we stripped and recoated the surface with new paint and lines. So we are making a conscious effort to put maintenance effort into our facilities as best we can with our budget restrictions. But I think we're making progress in that sense.
Thank you.
John?
Just a quick question, Kyle. How many tennis courts do we have in town, and do we know how much use they get?
So, off the top of my head, we have 8 courts at Greystone, and they're heavily used both for tennis and pickleball. We have the new tennis court and 4 new pickleball courts at the Jack Walsh property, and we have this tennis court at Rodenbush. And all of the other properties that have tennis courts are on school property. So those are the ones that are under Public Works purview.
So, I mean, if we decided not to do this at all, there's still plenty of other courts that are available in town.
I can't answer that one.
Okay, well,
I know there's huge
a number
demand.
of them, right?
Uh,
You just said what, 8, 12 or something like that?
yes.
Plus the schools?
Yeah, so tennis courts, we have the 8 at Greystone and 1 at Jack Walsh and 1 at Rodenbush. So 10 courts. The ones at Greystone are shared courts with pickleball. And certainly the pickleball demand in town is very high. And so that, is a conflict for tennis use. How much the Rodenbush court is used, I honestly don't know that answer.
So it's not scheduled or anything like that. You can just turn up and use it if it's available.
That's correct. Yeah, the court facilities are not permitted generally, unless there's some coach or instructor that's using the courts for lessons or something. I think that happens at the Robinson courts. But for our courts, there currently isn't a permit process for them.
Okay, all right. I mean, it's just that, I'm sure it costs $603,000 to renovate it. It just sounds like an awful lot of money in the current in the current environment. That's my only comment. So, thank you, Kyle.
Sure.
Tom?
Couple clarifiers. It sounds like this number is not just courts, but also some safety improvements for the property itself. So that's just something to keep in mind. But I do also wonder if there's a way to kind of monitor the usage of the courts. just again, as we start to look at having to prioritize things, you know, I know that deferring projects costs money, but we also need to recognize what is priority.
I can reach out to the Park and Rec commissioners, see if they have a sense of the use of the courts.
Okay, great. Jared, go ahead.
I'll be quick. Oh,
Yeah.
I agree. The use of them might not, even if you found out the use of them wasn't super great to begin with, that could just be due to the current condition of them also, right? And I do think it is important to note that investing in upgrading these things is also attractive for the town for getting new people to move to the area as well. Just want to put that out there.
It's a great point. Because, I agree with you, Jared. I think sometimes when we're looking at these things, it's not just use and whatnot. It's also when we're maintaining our parks and grounds, there's there's an aesthetic of are things getting run down? Are they not being, maintained? And it's not, there's a lot that comes with that. And there's a catch-22 of folks won't use it if it's in disrepair, right? So we need to think through those things as well. I think that's a great comment. Okay, any other pickleball fans out there who want to vociferously back this one? Pickleball's getting big, Kyle. I'm not kidding. Like,
Yeah,
come at us.
the opening of the Jack Welch courts created a lot of fervor over the last
We
few
bring
weeks.
this one up at town meeting, and you're gonna have a lot of folks with paddles coming out of the woodwork.
That's right.
I'm shy. All right, let's keep going. Let's go to Graniteville. This is
Yeah,
another
so
one we
next-
talk about a lot, right? Graniteville, we talk about all the time too.
So we have, yeah, and you may recall over the past number of years, there's been proposals before the committee for a rather large capital investment. Because of that cost, the overall project has been deferred indefinitely at this point. So we're trying to tackle the most pressing needs through the commission and our users. And one of the biggest concerns we've had from both parents and the leaders of the baseball softball group is safety concerns at Graniteville 5, 6, and 7. The fields are all contiguous to each other, and with the improvement in both balls and bat technology and in athletic performance, the existing fencing is not protective of foul balls for either the players or the spectators. So working with Matt Riegert, who I think is on the call as an attendee, had asked the commission to sponsor a project to improve that safety with that. So what we're proposing in this ask is just the design and development of a proposal to create that safety aspect for those 3 fields, and it would basically take a foul ball trajectory analysis with heights and distances and angles based on typical player data and make a recommendation as to whether we should put fencing or netting or some combination of the two. And then we'd come back next year with the ask to actually do the capital improvement.
Questions on this one, folks? Christina, go ahead.
Kyle, so all right, so you said that this is design only and you'd come back next year for the construction. This is probably out of your purview, and I do apologize. I think it may be slightly out of capitals, but at the same time, fees are collected for the use of the fields from Westford Youth Baseball and Softball and any other organizations that use it. So is there any type of revolving fund, or where are these fees held, and should there be something set aside to take care of these kinds of things when they come up?
So yeah, there is a fund that the user fees for all of our athletic facilities go to. It's called our 650 revolving fund. And what those fees are used for is all of the maintenance materials and services that we get on the athletic field. So all of the grass seed, fertilizers, water for the irrigation, repairs to the irrigation, the porta potties that are at the fields. That's what gets paid for out of the revolving fund. So those costs don't hit the actual budget. They come out of that revolving fund.
Okay.
This is another one, folks. I would again suggest if you have the time and you haven't, if you don't have children who play on the fields, please just go take a look. It'll take you 10 minutes. And the fields are on top of each other. My children have aged out of those fields, but I remember them being on them. They are on top of it. I remember coaching in there. The balls do come flying over and they're back and forth. And they're definitely, this isn't, this is a good request, I think, because there are some safety issues when you look at how they're on top of each other. I will be honest with you that my wife would prefer that we invest in nice bathrooms there for all the other parents. Again, not going there. That was the major complaint from all the moms was the bathroom facilities, but I think safety comes first. So I would ask that you guys look at this one. So.
And I would add, Paul, that if you don't have time to get out there, there is a diagram in the packet that was sent to all of you that it shows the proximity of the three fields.
No, absolutely, Kyle. I think when you actually see it up close, when you see the ball, like literally the backstops being within a few feet and stuff like that, you get a good feel for, wow, this is closer than a lot of other facilities have. So
yeah, and I do want to give credit to WYBSL with this kind of concern. They did spend some of their own money last year on increasing fence height along the first base line of G7. So they're not just asking for a request that they're not willing to put their money towards as well.
That's a great point. That's a great point. I appreciate that. Okay.
Next up is I'm sorry.
No, I said on to Jack Wash. You're up.
Yep. Okay. So next is the Jack Wash parking improvements request. So you all may know that we just finished the Jack Walsh Court reconstruction project. While that was going on, we also did some ped safety improvements at the end of Texas Road and relocating the Jack Walsh driveway to be safer for pedestrians and vehicles. The new driveway is located directly across from Texas Road. And as part of that, we put in a new pocket park where the old driveway was. We refreshed the playground that's there and the facility. It looks great. All of the crews did a fantastic job. One of the things that we didn't anticipate, a problem that we created, was where the new driveway is and where cars park actually created a pinch point for ingress and egress because it's the narrowest part of the gravel parking lot. So we developed a plan with our engineering staff to try and maximize parking in the area and see what we could do. It called for it to be surfaced with either asphalt or possibly with millings. And the nice thing with the hard surface is it allows us to stripe the facility. And striping is the only way to really maximize parking efficiency. Without stripes, people, leave a comfortable space between vehicles, which takes away some of the capacity. So we presented this to our Parks and Rec Commission at our October meeting. And although they really liked the concept and the drawing, they felt that the $340,000 ask was too much at this point with other competing interests. So what they've opted for is to widen out the parking area to kind of where the black lines of the diagram you see on the screen. Thank you, Dan. And we'll remove the existing old telephone pole and wire separation from the lot to the fields and replace it with wooden guardrail that's one, attractive, and two, safe. And we'd install it in support of this future plan so that we can plan for the eventual upgrade. But for now, we're just asking for $40,000 to do the guardrail improvement, which will take care of the most critical need of the parking aspect at this point.
questions on this one, folks? Okay, I'm not seeing them.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was great. Thanks, Kyle. All right, folks. Next we move on to wastewater and water. So I just want to make sure if there's anything else for Kyle before I mean, he's gonna run as fast as he can as soon as we say goodbye, Kyle. So you gotta
I'll stick around. Don't
I
worry.
appreciate it, buddy. If you got questions for him now, that's great. But like I said, if there's follow-ups, again, I do suggest on some of these that if you have the time to whether it's look at the additional information we have on it or to get out and see him, that would be helpful. But just like same with Paul, if there's follow-ups, please guys let us know and we will try to get answers and responses to everything over the next month as we're kind of going through our planning process. So thank you, Kyle. All right, Dan, we ready to move on to wastewater?
Think so. Think, Mark, you got this one?
That's me. Yep.
All right, Mark, the floor is yours.
Thanks. Good morning, everyone. Mark Warren, Water Superintendent. So the first one is for wastewater. Unfortunately, I don't have a figure for this. I'll give you some background. Back in August, we received, or the DEP issued an administrative consent order for the Westford Academy wastewater treatment plant. And the reason for this was due to multiple permit violations for effluent water quality. One of the requirements of the ACO is for the town to hire a professional engineer to do a study of the problem and to present a return to compliance plan to get the plant back into consistent compliance. So at this point, we don't know what that plan is going to consist of. We have to have the engineer do the review first. It could be process changes, which would be the most ideal thing, but we do anticipate this could include some capital expenses. Again, what they are, we just don't know at this point. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
What is the timing on assessing and finding these things, Mark?
Thank you. Good question. So we are required to present the return to compliance plan to the DEP by December 31st of this year. So we are kind of a tight deadline.
Okay, so we'll have more color on exactly what we need and whatnot coming up in the next 2 months.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, Kristen, go ahead.
Sure. And just to dovetail off of Mark's comments, if you've been following the special town meeting articles, under Article 2, there is an ask for wastewater. That is for the engineering study, and it is of necessity because of the timing that DEP has put on us. So I just want to make sure that this committee is aware, if you haven't been following the special town meeting articles, that is the first step, that is the engineering study, and then this would be the second step.
Thanks, Kristen. Okay, I'm not seeing anything else, Mark, so we can move on to the water enterprise requests.
Okay, so we are looking to replace our current backhoe. This backhoe is 14 years old. It does see a lot of rigorous use. We use it for water main repairs, service repairs, some road maintenance. We use it to move equipment and chemicals, and we also do use it in the winter for snow removal. Like I said, it gets heavily used. It's a workhorse for the department. It's a critical piece of machinery. And over the past few years, we started to see an increase to the frequency of repairs, particularly the hydraulics. And for backhoe, the hydraulics are pretty critical. That's what actuates the bucket and all that stuff. So we feel that we're sort of at the point of what's the term? The value is going down in the instrument, and it's time to replace. And I think I put in $175,000. We are going to trade in the current machine. This number does not include the trade-in. I did have it evaluated yesterday, and I'm waiting to receive the potential trade-in value. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's backhoe.
Questions from Mark on this item, folks? All right, we can jump up to the $1 million ask.
All right, here's a fun one.
Yeah.
So, okay. Real quick, the water department has 2 treatment plants. Each treatment plant contains 2 high head pumps and 2 backwash pumps. The high head pumps are essentially the heartbeat of the plants. These are the pumps that actually push water into the distribution system. So of course, if they don't work, there's no water. So they're critical pieces of equipment. The backwash pumps are somewhat less critical. We use these pumps to actually clean the filters. So we can, get by with alternating, we have 2 at each plant, so we do have some, backup. The high head pumps are critical equipment. They're 20 years old. Well, actually 21 years old. They're original equipment. They get used very often, as you can imagine, especially in the warm months when we're pumping really hard. They can be going 24 hours a day, roughly. And we have noticed somewhat of a loss of performance. We have seen them trip out over time. During our last renovation of our clear well, we actually took pictures of the pumps themselves, and they're starting to. So what you're looking at now is the motors that sit on top of the pumps, and if you want to scroll to the next one, you'll see the 2 motors that are the 2 blue pipes. Those are the high head pumps. These are heavy duty commercial grade pumps. And the 2 pumps to the right, those are the backwash pumps, smaller. And okay, there you go. So right now we're in our clear well, and it's hard to see, but you're looking at the 4 pumps. The 2 pumps on the left are the high head pumps, and the pumps on the right are the backwash pumps. And as you can see, they're getting pretty tuberculated and definitely need some tender loving care. There you go. That's up close. This is 20 plus years of age. They've served us well at this point. And so I think these are the backwash pumps. Yeah. So what I am looking to do is 3 things. I want to pull the pumps. I want to have them inspected. And then I want any service that needs to be done, and that includes replacement. So this $1 million that I'm looking for, this is a worst case scenario of replacing all 8 pumps. I'm being positive. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. But once I start pulling pumps, I want to be in the position to act on it. And I think having these funds available, I think, is the most efficient means to do that. I'm especially nervous about the high head pumps because, like I said before, we can't really operate for long periods of time without them.
And Mark, it's not a situation where, it's better than anybody, right? But it's not a situation where we can just pull one and just hope the next work. You're going to get in there, and basically, if we need to fix the others, you're going to need to fix them right then when you're in there doing the work, right? So that's why the request for the full amount.
Correct. And the thing is, they're all the same age. They are just beyond their expected life. I think it's tricky. These pumps are pumping clean water, so that does help. We could get more life out of them, but I want to be in a position to act so that we're not down for an extended period of time. And of course, I'm going to do this in the off season. I would never do this in the summer because we need these pumps active.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Tom, go ahead.
Yeah, just a couple things. So you just alluded to useful life. I'm assuming it's around 20 years.
Yes.
And I guess the question would be whether or not it could be something that you, again, even out, whether it's find a way to start to work towards being able to replace on a regular schedule, or if there's other maintenance that could be done on a more regular basis to get more life out of, or just have a better number, because to tie up the $1 million when you might only need half of that could be challenging in budget.
So, I mean, they do receive maintenance. But I just think, this is beyond their their lifespan. So obviously maintenance is critical. It's important. And we need to continue that. And without doing that, we're going to, lessen the lifespan. But at this point, and based on these observations, we're thinking that, we need to take some sort of action. I think the pumps are probably on the way out. I think the motors, that's a different story. We might be able to get by with keeping them going. And sorry, did I answer your question?
I would just add one thing, just more so for the newer folks on the committee, that mentioned that this would not have an impact on the operating budget, because these projects are paid for out of the water user fees solely. There is no contribution from the tax base for any of the water projects.
Thanks, Kyle. That's a good point. We are an enterprise fund, yes.
Yeah, so that's important for the committee to know that we do vote whether to recommend these or not with Kristen, but there's a separate fund on these. Again, we take it into consideration, I think, a lot of times, but it's not our purview to decide how these things are funded for. We just recommend to Kristen whether or not we think they should be. So, but I always appreciate, it's very helpful for the folks to know where the money is coming from, because that helps inform the thoughts and decisions. So thank you, Jared. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Kyle. Thank you, Mark. Okay, we can keep going.
Okay. So the last one is a little more mundane. It's dehumidifiers. We're looking for $125,000 to replace the dehumidifiers at our nutting facility. We replaced the units at Forge of this year. They were not functioning at all, and it gets very humid in our filter rooms. Yeah, let me back up. These dehumidifiers are installed in our filter rooms. So within these rooms, we have a lot of piping. We have 3 very large filters. And when it's humid, the water in these the filters and the pipes are cold, so you get a lot of condensation. You get a lot of condensation, a lot of dripping. It can create safety issues with water on the floor, but more importantly, it can damage the surface of the pipes and of the tanks, and of any number of metering equipment that is in use throughout the room. So it is, pretty important to keep these units running. They're larger commercial grade units, nothing you would purchase for your home. They're these. Sorry, I can't recall the name of them, but they are a commercial grade dehumidifiers. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. That's kind of it in a nutshell.
Anything else we need to talk through from water, Mark?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. Folks, any other questions for Mark? Jared, go ahead.
From my knowledge, so the pipes that you're mentioning, so the condensation on those, are any of those insulated pipes?
They're not.
Okay.
They're not. All exposed piping.
Okay.
Anybody else before we let Mark go? I'm not seeing it. All right, Mark, that was very helpful.
All right,
Appreciate your
thanks.
time this morning. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, folks. Next up on the agenda is stormwater. Back to our old friend Paul. You running this one, Paul, or is Jeremy going to walk us through?
Not so fast. Yeah, let me look at these. Yeah, I think Jeremy, you up to speed on these here? There's the
Yes.
culvert replacements in the.
Yeah, so the first request is for the design and permitting to replace culverts on Old Homestead Road and Long Meadow Road. Both culverts are made up of 2 48-inch diameter corrugated metal pipes. Both are in failure with significant rust and a lot of section loss. Mass DOT recently unexpectedly closed Old Homestead Road on us because a sinkhole developed in the middle of the road. So think these, both Old Homestead and Long Meadow, the subdivision was constructed back in the mid to early 70s. So these corrugated pipes are well beyond their design life. So these are just the next two, as we've been every year asking for funding to design 2 to 3 culverts. So these would be the next two in line.
Questions, folks? Tom?
Sorry. Yeah, so I think you just mentioned the DOT closing one of these. Any estimates on the ability to get that constructed in this year, just to minimize impact on those residents?
I don't believe we'll be able to construct it this year or even next. So we'd be asking for funding for the design and permitting that at annual town meeting in March. And then the following town meeting would be asking for construction. And then so most likely it would be the year after that. So we're looking at 2 to 3 years, really. There's a lot that goes into the permitting. Both of these will have to go through Chapter 85 review with Mass DOT, so it's an added layer of permitting. So it's just the way it is to expedite a culvert with the funding cycle, and when town meeting is, it usually takes at least 2 years and most often 3.
And this is a very minimal impact to the residents. They have multiple routes to get to their homes. Very, very little inconvenience, which is why we're able to prioritize the other ones.
John?
Yeah, I mean, looking at 2 or 3 years with that old homestead closed, this seems like this should have more of an urgent feel to it than just, well, we wait 2 or 3 years to get that done. And doing both of them at the same time or pretty close to the same time, that's my first concern. There ought to be an expedited way or something we could fix this earlier than that by paying particular attention to it, putting a priority on it. And the other thing is that they're very, very similar culverts. I just concerned about that much design effort, same design cost for each one of them. You'd think there'd be some replication if you had the same design firm do that you could reduce that cost. So my concern is the lack of urgency that seems to be there on fixing Old Homestead. And I just don't know, waiting 2 or 3 years, that's not a very good look for the town. And it's not very helpful to the residents, I don't think. So
Can we bring that map back up here? Help you understand that at the most, the inconvenience is someone's going to be driving another 50 yards.
well, I've been out there. I've looked at it. I understand that. And how close to a failure is the second road, the Long Meadow Road?
Right. There's no way for us to accurately predict that, John. We just know that, well, it's in poor repair based on our culvert studies, and they've been on our radar. But again, if you look at Cold Spring Road to the far right of this image, that's a high volume road. That's our priority, to get that replaced ASAP this coming summer. Long Meadow, our old homestead, it's just a matter, you turn down Long Meadow and come back up the other way. In fact, I think the neighborhood is enjoying some reduced volumes and, cut through traffic and others. So we haven't had any calls or complaints or concerns at all from the neighborhood, and we wouldn't expect that, but it's a matter of our needing to prioritize which ones we're going to work on and when, which is a critical part of our job, actually. So we have to take into consideration manpower, the balance of other projects that'll be going on at the same time. So to just shift these around without some very careful consideration, that could be problematic for us.
I will say too, Paul, the level of permitting that we have to go through, especially with Chapter 85, we have to go through the Army Corps of Engineers. I know in a past project, it took us more than 6 months to get an approval from Army Corps. So the permitting process is somewhat extensive and does take time.
Kristen, did you have something you wanted to bring up?
I think Paul covered it, but
Okay.
our resources for design and permitting are limited with our engineering team. If we wanted to expedite this, we would have to bring on more consultants and still have to review and overview that with the consultants. So this does take a significant amount of time that's out of our control related to permitting. But John, I think if you still continue to have questions, meeting with Paul and Jeremy just on the scope and the length that these types of items take may be helpful. I'm happy to facilitate that as well.
Okay.
Thanks, Kristen. Okay, we can keep going.
All right, so the next request is for $1.5 million. This is for the Boutwell Brook culvert replacements. There's two culverts here. The first one is at Forge Village Road, and the second is at Cold Spring Road. That's just immediately upstream of the Long Meadow Road culvert that we just talked about. Yeah, both of these were identified in the 2021 townwide culvert assessment as one of the main priorities. As Paul pointed out, these are major roads in town, so they were prioritized. The culverts are currently under design and will be likely, if we get the money at annual town meeting in March, we'll put them out to bid most likely in the fall, winter of 26 in order to get favorable construction bids, and then in the spring of 27 we'd start construction.
Questions on these ones, folks? Okay, I'm not seeing any, Jeremy. We can keep going.
All right, now our last request is a $30,000 request to replace some survey equipment. So our current survey equipment, or our total station instrument that we use for survey, is more than 20 years old. Typically have a life expectancy of 10 to 15, so we're a little bit on borrowed time. So we're asking for new equipment for that to be replaced, and we're asking to be replaced with a robotic total station that allows one person to operate it. Would still likely send out a crew of 2 people just for safety, but it will allow us to be a little more efficient with our survey. And in a pinch, if somebody had to go out on their own just to collect a little bit of information, they could do that. We use this for our culvert designs, as-built, as well as other DPW projects.
Makes sense. Anybody on this one? Or since we're at the end of this one, anything else for Jeremy or Paul on the stormwater? All right. Not seeing any hands. Oh, Jared, go ahead.
I was gonna ask. So for like the water facilities or things like that, being a newer resident, I haven't seen these facilities. Is this something like we could go and like see in the fields sometime and like schedule those?
I can answer that. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, anyone, we're open for tours anytime anyone wants to come visit us. Just let me know so I can make sure that I'm here. That's all.
Mark is a side hustler giving tours of his water facilities.
I
You're gonna start charging? What is it, $5 a head?
Oh, he already charges.
It's true.
Same offer exists for the highway facility. If any of you want to come by, see the equipment or the facility, just let me know and we'd be happy to give you a tour.
It's a great point, actually, Kyle. We it was years and years ago with your predecessor that we did one big tour where everybody could go. So just for the committee's benefit, especially the new members or folks who've been a couple of years, is the questions that we're having, especially coming up around vehicle replacement earlier in the meeting today. It's like what's old is new again. We've had these for years and years and years just because of the budget restraints we've had, and there were some years where it was let's just say a major topic of discussion in the back and forth on what the vehicles were and what the states were of the vehicles. And we had a day where it was a Saturday morning, and folks on the committee were all welcome to come out and see the vehicles and the fleet for DPW. And I think it was really helpful. I really do. For folks to actually get up close and see what we were really talking about and see the folks that were actually using it and what they were working with. So I think for that, especially for the vehicles, and for the water and any things that we're talking about here, the opportunity for these committee members to get out and see them in person really does have a big impact, and it's a real help for us when we're thinking about our recommendations to Kristen. So I appreciate that, Kyle, and everybody, Mark. So if we can, Dan, maybe look as we go throughout the fall to find some Saturday mornings or Sundays, whatever you guys think that work for these guys, or Fridays, whatever it is, where we could have that opportunity for folks. I really do think it's valuable if we can look into it. So I appreciate the offer from you guys, and I would highly suggest we try to look into that. All right. Folks, before we move on, is there anything else? We've got everybody still on the line. Any follow-ups or any questions that you wish you had? And we've got a few minutes before we let these folks get on with their beautiful Friday morning. Dr. Chu.
Hey, thanks, Paul. Just as a theme, we're going to be hearing a number of times as we go through this process, I want to say, and a couple of members here have also toured the roof at WA. So I think maybe that's a good thing to look at holistically. Maybe it's one Saturday where a lot of these things could be happening, not even just the things that were mentioned today, but even the things that we're looking at future requests as well, too. I would
Great point.
welcome doing that or hosting things like that.
Yeah, I love it. That's a great point. Maybe we can put our heads together and by our heads, I mean Dan, and figure out what works the best with all the requests and timing. So not to throw more work on you, Dan, but I think that's the vice chair's role when I look through our bylaws. I think that's what it says. So
The scheduling.
yeah,
Sure. I'm okay with that.
The crap work, like all the stuff. I think it's just like, you know what I mean? No, but that's a great point. So maybe we think about that. All right, folks. If nothing else, we'll move on to the rest of our business for the morning, and we'll get these folks going.
Thank you all.
Thank you guys very much. We really appreciate the time. Thank you all. All right. Well, that was efficient. I'd like to thank the committee for the time and going back and forth, but I do again want to echo my comments from earlier that reach out with questions and follow-ups and thoughts. I think if we do schedule these kind of meetings where, especially this year with so many new members, if we can get out and see this stuff, we could answer a lot of the questions, or the questions could be answered there. So I think that'll be great. But please, if you have follow-ups, don't hesitate. We do try to keep these meetings on time, just for everybody's. We've all got things going on Friday mornings. We've all got other meetings. Everybody on every week when it's coming up texts me or emails me, I got this, and so that's why I try to keep it on time. But more importantly than that is to get everybody's questions and thoughts answered. So please follow up, please reach out, and we'll schedule whatever we need to going forward. So, but thank you guys. All right. I'm going to go on to approval of the minutes. The minutes were included in the package that Dan sent out from our last meeting of October 3rd. Again, if you have any small nits or edits, you can send them in. Jeremy prepared them again, I believe, and I appreciate
Jesse did.
Because it's a thankless job. So I will thank you for doing that very much. I thought they were good. I don't have any comments or edits. If anybody does any major comments, please let us know now.
We're good.
Good. Okay. If not, if I could get a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Dan. And I'll just do a roll call run down the list real quick. So I'm a yes. Dan?
Yes.
Tom L?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
Christina?
Yes.
Tom W?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Joan C?
Yes.
Dr. Chu?
Yes.
Krista?
Yes.
Awesome. That's the list. We're good. Okay, thank you. Future meetings, folks. Friday the 7th and Friday the 14th. I'm almost positive we'll have things that get added on after that, but those are our scheduled ones right now. Let us know as we're getting closer if you have issues with those. Christina, you got a question?
Yeah, it's a little bit off topic, but the capital planning policy, are we going to see that again at some point, or what's the next step on that?
Yeah, so the select board reviewed and approved that at their meeting a few weeks ago. I need to just make 2 edits to it that was requested in the select board meeting. Dan has made those edits. I just need to review them, and we'll get that out to everyone who's needed everyone who needs to have it.
Okay, thanks.
We were coming up to other business, Christina. You hit it perfect. It's totally fine. Don't apologize. Dan or Kristen, anything else that we need to make sure we cover with the committee?
We're pretty good right now.
Yeah.
Kristen?
The only thing is if there's any questions for the special town meeting on those capital items that anyone wanted to revisit, just giving a moment of space for that.
Absolutely, we've got the time. So, any questions on special town meeting? Anything
No.
wants to talk about, or questions for? Did a great job with the outreach on nutting. You know, regardless of how a vote goes on that, I think that getting out and getting the word and getting more education to folks, just given how close the vote was at a, you know, personal raise your hand, roll call type of thing at town meeting, to go out and do that additional work and put it out there. That's a lot of work and it's a big effort, and I applaud you guys for doing that. I think it's great. I think it's good for the town one way or the other to have the additional information. So I'm glad that that's coming up, and I think you guys did a great job. Okay. I'm not. Oh, Christina.
Sorry.
Again, I was just about to call for a motion to adjourn.
I knew you were. That's why I was going to
Dive right in. Oh, go ahead.
Yep, right in.
okay.
Just back on the capital planning policy, just food for thought. So I sort of missed that the select board had approved that. I haven't been keeping up with their meetings. Last year we started talking about sort of considering the funding or not considering the funding, and you know, I sort of struggle every year with how does capital have a backstop on some of these projects? You know, how do we inform Kristen of our priority, or you know, whatever we want to call it, if the funding is not there? There always seems to be that missing piece. And obviously don't need to discuss this now, but what are we going to do about that?
So it's a good question, Christina. It comes up every year. And the way Mark, who's my predecessor, and the way I've kind of followed the lead is that we do present the funding, right? So when we look at the end of the year, especially for the new members to understand, when we go through our, you know, our list of our recommendations for Kristen, Dan gives us a breakdown exactly of where the funding for all of these items are coming from. And so we do have that line of sight to where the money's coming from and how much it leaves in all the different buckets and pieces and stuff like that. And I've always felt that that's important. I think we need it because it does inform, you know, just perfectly honest, wastewater management, right? Like the amount of funds that are in wastewater and water to do the water projects, usually like, yeah, we got to do it. And we've got the money and we've got to, you know, bifurcate it. So there's not as much hand wringing over some larger item requests as we would when it's coming out of our general fund or need to be bonded or whatnot. So I'll take Kristen and Dan's thoughts and lead on it, but I do think that continuing to provide that information for the committee is important for us when we're making our recommendations. So we have that color as to the funding, because of course it's important. But as it's always been, it's just not in our purview to decide where that is coming from. So I don't know if that's helpful, Christina, but that's the way I've always viewed it, is we don't get to decide where the money is coming from. That is not what this committee's been made to do. But I agree with you in that, you know, seeing that and having that understanding colors our recommendations and how we feel about certain items. So I do believe that we should always be providing that and giving that color. I just like to make sure people understand that difference, because in the past, and this has been probably 8 or 9 years back, there were arguments over like funding sources, and it kind of took it away from the original purpose of the committee.
Yeah, and I'm not arguing that you know where the exact funding is coming from, but seeing that, you know, okay, if we're taking X out of free cash, it leaves us with this, and do you still feel comfortable with that, or would you like to pull a couple of things that are maybe not super high priority, right? Like from that standpoint.
I agree with that. I think that's good for us to have, and I think that's healthy discussion that we're able to have if we have the funding sources. So I think the way I think giving the funding sources and showing the buckets and what's left and not is important for us. So as long as Kristen and Dan agree going forward that we can continue to have that, and that I agree with you fully. So
okay.
And Paul, where exactly are you seeing that? Like in the packet materials? Because I was gonna ask that question right before Kyle clarified earlier. about some
Dan,
of that
when
water and
Karen,
stormwater?
yeah, so at the end, when we put our list together, when we take, at the end of our cycle here, right, which is later this fall or early into January, depending on timing and stuff like that, we'll take the entire request list and we put it all together. And that's when Dan then presents like these requests go into this. Dan's got a master list that goes into these requests fall into this bucket, these requests fall into this bucket and that. So it's not sent out. I don't know, Dan, I don't think it's in every packet we send out every meeting, but it's there when we start to look at what we're voting on.
Yeah, we have the
Maybe
5-year request out there, and then later on we'll add in the funding source. But I have last year's I can share as an example if you want to see
That'd be great.
that.
Yeah, do you mind pulling it up
Um,
just to show them what I'm talking
sure.
about? It's probably more
So
visual than.
this is the database that we have, and underneath each request we have the funding source. So for like IT, you see free cash into there. If we go down, let's check out one of the enterprises. So for stormwater, we have stormwater enterprise funding. It could be a bond, it could be whatever in there. Water, we have water enterprise funding. So we'll start to update this. Definitely by the November 14th meeting, we want to have some semblance of a plan in place. So when I go and make a recommendation, you know where the funding sources are coming from, and we can have. I usually put like have a sheet with available funds that are available to use, and we'll have some semblance of a free cash figure that we want to spend on capital. It's probably around a 2.5 million-ish area, and then we'll go from
Dan, can you
there.
show
So
last year's straw person?
this is it. This was a new format that
Yeah,
we
I
use
just
because
mean the
it's just a
total. Yeah, the summer.
database.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's color
maybe
coded and everything.
maybe it might be helpful, just a suggestion or consideration on the capital budget request form. Maybe there's somewhere in the header at the top there or something where it might say like anticipated funding source, and it would go in
So
there because I think that is hard to like. Because I've done budget things in the past, I was understanding that the water stuff is probably coming from the water enterprise and the stormwater. But if you are just a regular old citizen that hasn't been following that stuff, you might not have followed that along, that those particular requests were not going to come out of the capital budget until Kyle mentioned something, or I was going to raise my hand and ask the question. So I think that might just be helpful potentially to be able to see that.
Dan, we have that now in the database, don't we? Can you show that function?
sure, I gotta bring up the database.
I'm thinking, I just like your meeting packet that we're reviewing have those town or Westford capital
Sure.
budget requests. So maybe
yeah.
they're
But they do. Yeah, I think it's a good comment, Sharon. But they do change sometimes too. Like the source of funding kind of moves sometimes, especially when we're talking about CPC funds and other things like that. So I don't know,
think-
Dan, when you guys get them in the database, is it it's not final, right? Until you guys.
Right. So
I
here's
guess. Yeah.
Yeah, here's the form that they fill out. We do have this funding sources sheet here that can be updated. The department heads do not choose the funding source. It's something we go back and review after we review the requests. So we will fill these in and have that spreadsheet or database ready for the committee to take a look at, so they know the anticipated source of funds that we're planning on using.
Awesome. Tom, do you have a question on this?
Yeah, are some of these by department, like you have the Stormwater Enterprise Fund, and Department 450 is the Water Department, which is an enterprise fund, right? Or am I
Yep.
reading correctly? So it just, for us newbies, like I know that the Water Department is an enterprise fund because I've been going town meeting. But like 442 wastewater management, I don't know whether or not that's a enterprise fund or not.
It's not.
Okay.
The town has 4 enterprise funds, and that's not one of them.
Okay. That's what I thought because I had not heard of that one. But just like 450, 427, it says Stormwater Enterprise Fund, but 450, it just says water rather than Water Enterprise Fund or Water Department or whatever. What are the other two? Stormwater, Water Department, ambulance,
and recreation.
recreation. Thank you.
Okay. This is a good topic. I appreciate the thoughts and comments on this because again, it is one that comes up often. So getting clarity and getting everybody's thoughts and opinions in on something like this is really important. So thank you. And as we go forward, I do again, I'll echo, please send us emails and calls or whatever if you have additional thoughts as we're going through this with the process on stuff like this. It's everybody's opinions really help kind of make this smoother and help this committee operate more efficiently going forward. So I do appreciate these guys. Thank you. Anything else? Any other old business or new that folks want to bring up before we adjourn? I'm not seeing hands, but I feel like I got to give Christina like another 5 seconds just in case.
I'm good.
All right, buddy. You're always welcome. I love it. I love the comments. I don't mean that in a bad way.
All
Honestly.
right. Sure.
All right. Could I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, Tom.
Second.
Second. Thank you, Christina. All right. I'll go down my list real quick. I am a yes. Dan?
Yes.
Tom L?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
Christina?
Yes.
Tom W?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
John C?
Yes.
Dr. Chu?
Yes.
Kristen?
Yes.
We are adjourned for Friday morning. I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend. And we will talk soon.
Bye, all.
All right.
Thank you as well.
Yep.
Have a great
Thanks.
weekend, everyone.